السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يوتيوب، كيف الحال يا يوتيوب؟ How are we doing, brothers and sisters? Let me just check this real quick before it rudely interrupts us. There we go. Just handling multiple screens at the same time. Don't mind me. How are we doing, brothers and sisters? I hope we are well. You know what? Today's stream, this is actually the last stream that I will be doing before Ramadan. I'll still be uploading normal videos, but no more streams, live streams until after Ramadan. Just feels a bit inappropriate, to be honest, to be live streaming during Ramadan because the timing, it would be either during Taraweeh, like, why aren't you praying, bruv? Why are you on YouTube? Go to the masjid and pray, big man. Or it would be after Taraweeh and manage to eat or train. So this will be the last one before Ramadan, and this was initially meant to be an open Q&A. And it is going to transition, and we will switch gears to an open Q&A format, inshallah ta'ala, halfway through the stream. But unfortunately, we have an important issue to address first to begin with, and that's what we're going to do. For those of you who are new here, my name is Mahdi Tidjani, and I help you understand why your wife doesn't like you, why women don't like you. Somebody once said to me, a lot of people have said this to me, oh, Mahdi, you're so obsessed with this topic of women. There are more important things in life than just talking about women. And I said to them, you're absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. There are more important things in life than talking about women. Sadly, so many men are so bad with women that they spend the majority of their life thinking about women. And that's why this channel exists, so that you can go on to conquer more important things. Because let me tell you, gentlemen, let me tell you, wallahi, there are few things that bring you greater satisfaction and peace than a good woman. I am telling you, it is one of the most beautiful experiences one of the most beautiful human experiences is a good woman. A good woman who's loyal to you. She is your peace, as Allah has described in the Quran. The verse you've heard me repeat many times if you've watched me for long enough. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. And from his signs is that he has created from you wives so that you may find peace within her, inside her. That's why this channel exists. That's why all of my content revolves around this discussion, because when you have a woman that provides you with peace, you are able to move on to more important things, bruv. But when you don't have that, either you have no woman at all, MGTOW community, and I really feel sorry for them, because you're kidding yourself if you think that. You're lying to yourself. It's a cope if you're going to tell yourself, oh, we don't need a woman, I don't need a... Oh, shut up, please. Okay, you will survive, but it will be a miserable existence. Life is just so much better with a woman that you love, and she loves you, and she is loyal to you, and she is in your frame, and she respects you, and she listens to you. Life is so much better. That's why this channel exists. If you're watching this on replay, the first half of this stream will be dedicated to our sister Nurun Nessa and Jeffrey Marshmallow. How funny is it, by the way, that his name's Jeffrey? It's so cliche, yani. You know Hamza, the big YouTuber Hamza, who's his entire YouTube channel is around the loser Jeffrey, the Jeffrey archetype. How funny that my guy's name is Jeffrey. What a Jeffrey. And we're going to get into it, inshallah. And I have been observing from the sidelines throughout this week. I have watched content from Ali Dawa, from Smile to Jannah. Smile to Jannah, what's the brother's name? Wallah, I forgot his name. Anyway, the brother from Smile to Jannah, he released another video today. And there's a number of reasons why it is important to discuss this issue. A number of reasons why Jeffrey Marshmallow needs to be called out. A number of reasons. Now, I know that two things. Number one, Sister Nuran Nessa, I believe her name is, who was attacked by the LCD HDTV mob. Indeed, I'm going to get into the details of it. I'm going to pull up a thing on the screen in a moment. I'll share my screen for those of you who have no clue what the French toast is going on. I'm going to pull up details on the screen in a moment. But I know that the Sister Nuran has said that she wants those Muslims who have made videos defending her to remove their videos, and that she doesn't want this to escalate any further. Now, I know why she said this. She's trying to ingratiate herself with the LCD HDTV community by appearing to tell those who are defending her to stop defending her. She hopes the LCD HDTV community will stop attacking her. And I'm sorry, Sister Nuran, but we are going to defend you. And the reason why is because it's not about you. On this particular occasion, it concerns you, but tomorrow it will concern another Muslim, and then another one, and then another one, and so on and so on. And that's why this issue needs to be addressed. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Shout out to the chat, by the way. Let me just give some love to the chat before we get into this, because we're going to be going deep today. Chad Sultan, I see you there as always, my man. Lucy Wynne Jones, you're a regular to the channel as well. Lucy, by the way, yeah, I had a brother email me the other day asking for your hand in marriage. He must have seen the stream where you came on, and he was asking about your availability. So I don't know, I get too many emails per day. So if you're that guy who emailed me, email me again, please. And Lucy, if you're interested, then DM me or email me or whatever. And like, I'll try and fix you up some Mehdi matchmaking thing. You get me? Ibrahim Khalil, what's going on, my man? How you doing, Akhi? Alpha Red, I see you there. Habibi, salam alaikum wa rahmatullah. What about? I'm not entirely sure whether you like me or hate me, but you're here in the stream every single week, so shout out to you as well. There you go. I'm a revert. How do I find a husband? Like I said to you, Lucy, I'm still getting emails of brothers asking for your hand. So, you know, if you want to pursue a discussion with this brother, I have no clue who he is, none whatsoever. But maybe there's something there for you, inshallah ta'ala. All right, let me pull this up real quick. Let me pull this up. And you know what? Before I pull this up, okay, you see this sister here. All right, which way am I pointing? This sister here, Sister Nuran Nessa, I believe her name is. And the title here is Muslim Mother Received Death Threats After Exposing LGBTQ, I can't keep up with the letters these days, TikToker who tried to groom children online. I have been sent videos by our Sister Nuran in the past, okay? And I don't actually remember what the videos were. I just remember thinking, this is react-worthy content, that I can react to this and dissect this like I do with the other, you know, madness that you've seen me react to in the past on my channel. I just never got around to it, basically. But she was saying things, and I don't remember what it was, so don't quote me, but I just recall her saying things which, you know, we would disagree with on this side of the internet with regards to marriage and husbands and so on. The other day, I was approached by a podcast, a London-based podcast, and they asked me to come onto their show to debate with a Muslim sister certain Islamic issues. Not Islamic issues, what am I talking about? Certain issues with relates to my content, not Islamic issues. And I declined. And the reason why I declined was because the owner of the podcast, the host of the podcast, is a non-Muslim. And I said to him, the optics will look very bad in the Muslim community if two Muslims come on to a non-Muslim podcast and start heckling and arguing. Here's the thing, yeah? As Muslims, we're like one big family. And as families often do, families fight, families argue, families fall out. Brother and sister has an argument. Mom and dad don't see eye to eye on something. Dad's displeased with son. Cousin's displeased with the other cousin. Aunt has an issue with the uncle. It's family life. It is what it is. It's the way it goes. And families fight. But have you ever noticed that when you see family members fighting in public, on the street, it's really trashy? The immediate image that comes to your mind is some type of trailer trash. Like this, they're out there effing and blinding and calling the odds, and they're all arguing with each other. They're all at it like a mad one, fighting each other. Why are the optics on that so bad? Why does it look so bad? Because you're taking the issues that you have with each other that should have stayed inside the home, and you're bringing them outside of the home. Equally here, we as Muslims, we're going to disagree with each other on certain issues. We're going to have those disagreements. And as family members, we deal with that ish in-house. We deal with those disagreements on our turf, on our platforms, on our podcasts, on our channels, on our fill in the blank. No problem. We can discuss and debate and go over these issues that we disagree with in-house, just like a family would do. But we don't heckle and fight each other outside the house. We don't heckle and fight each other on non-Muslim platforms. When you're on a non-Muslim platform, as far as I'm concerned, look, we got differences, but we got bigger issues to talk about here. So these differences that we have between me and you, we're going to have to dead that for now, because we need to present a unified front, even if we're not. And much of the time, just like in a normal family, you're not unified. But when you go outside, you have to present this unified front. Why do I share this with you? Because there are things that our sister Noran has said in the past that I disagree with. Videos that she has made that I was going to react to. I've been sent many of her videos over the past couple of years to react to. I just never made the time for it, to be honest. But now we're tackling something more important. So as far as I'm concerned, Sister Noran, she's family. Those issues, those side issues, those smaller issues, we did it. We're going to dead that. You know why? Because now we have a non-Muslim attacking her, sending his mob to attack her, no less, and over something that she should not have been attacked for in the first place, frankly speaking. So whether you like it or not, Sister Noran, we are going to defend you. And as I mentioned just a couple of moments ago, the reason why it is very important we call out Jeffrey Marshmallow on his shenanigans is because it's not about you, Sister Noran. It's about setting an example. Let me take you on a trip down memory lane. I was in year 9 in high school. For my American brothers, that's not university. I think you guys call high school college. It's college for us. Year 9 is basically 13 years old. I was 13 years old. And I was playing football in the playground with my classmates, as you do. And I think a lot of people can relate to this because I've seen memes about it online. I have seen memes about it online. We were playing football in the playground. And then there were always a group of older boys, year 10s and year 11s, who'd be sat there on the sidelines. Too cool for school. Too cool to play football. We're all sweaty and muddy and grimy and just like having time of our lives, playing footy on the field. And then you'll always get that one donut in year 10 or year 11, the year above or 2 years above, who just thinks it's so funny to walk over in the middle of your game whilst you're in the middle of a nail-biting draw of a match, and there's only a couple minutes left until the bell goes and dinner break is up and you're about to go inside, and you want to finish this now. You don't want it to be a draw. You need to find a winner now. And there is that one donut who thinks it's so funny to come over, pick up your ball, and punt it as far away as he can as possible. There's always that one donut, bruv, who thinks that's funny. And this would happen over and over and over and over again. And this really started to bother me. The problem was the guy who was kicking our ball away, there were two problems. Number one, he was in a group of 5. There was a few problems actually. Number one, they were in a group of 5. Number two, he was 1 year older than me. And number three, he was significantly bigger than me. Significantly. I actually recall him being quite muscular, like for a year 10, 14, 15. My guy had muscles, bruv. He was well built, proper mesomorph. They kicked our ball away again, the big muscular one in particular, and his scrawny little mate. He had this scrawny little mate of his, like really proper mousy features, but he was so irritating, proper irritating. Anyway, so I had enough, and I walked over to them, and I said to them, the big one, the one who kicked our ball away. Now, you need to understand, I'm walking over to them on my own. My classmates, they're not coming with me. They don't want any part of this because they know that we don't stand a chance with these boys. They don't want any part of this. Hold up one sec. Right. And I approach him, and I still remember to this day, he was wearing glasses. And I said to him, "Excuse me, can you please not kick our ball away again? It's very annoying." I didn't threaten him or anything like that. What am I going to threaten him with anyway? He was stronger than me, bigger than me, and there were a big group of them. And he said to me, "What are you going to do about it?" And then the 5 of them encircled me like this. And I literally went into fight or flight mode. I realized in that moment, I'm about to take a beating. This has gone too far. I'm about to get some lick shots. And I picked the biggest guy in that circle, and I just wound back and just smacked him in the face, punched him right in the face. You know what happened next? I got the SHIT kicked out of me, beaten out of me. They beat me to the floor. They were kicking me, punching me, until finally Mrs. Stewart, shout out to Mrs. Stewart, I don't even know if she's still alive. She came over and she broke it up. And the boys dispersed, and she picked me up and she took me inside. I think she took me to the medical room because I was quite badly beaten up and bruised. And I'll never forget her, by the way. She was old school, proper old school. She was old back then. This is like 20 years on now. And she said to me, she whispered in my ear, she said to me, "That was a good punch, Mahdi." She appreciated that. She was like, "Yeah, you stood up for yourself." Anyways, I had just gotten the SHIT beaten out of me. I took a proper licking. My classmates who didn't come over with me to defend me, they were like, "Yeah, that's why we didn't say nothing to them, bro." So now I'm cacking it. I'm like, I just punched this guy in the face. They were beating me up on the floor, and they weren't done with me. They are definitely going to come after me. And after that, I would be constantly watching over my back in school. A couple of days later, I was back in school again, walking through the corridor. And I see the guy that I punched in the face. I recognize him from a mile off because of how built he is and his glasses. I see him, and I put my head down. And I'm like, "God almighty, please, Ya Allah, don't let him see me. I don't want him to beat me up again." And something absolutely fascinating happened. As I was walking past him, I instinctively looked up. I just looked to my left because I was like expecting something. And I just wanted to just see if I'm going to have to duck or run or I don't know what. And as I looked to my left, I noticed him catching my eyes and immediately looking away. I was like, "What? What happened there?" This repeated itself 2 or 3 more times because we would constantly walk past each other. We're in the same school. It's impossible to not see each other. And it's like a yellow car. When you buy a yellow car, all of a sudden you see yellow cars. It was like that. It was like there's one guy in the school, there's 1,000 students, and I have to keep bumping into him. Every time I would walk past him, he would look away from me. And on that day, I learned a very valuable lesson. And that lesson was, when you stand up for yourself to the bully, Even if you lose, the bully will leave you alone. Do you want to know why? Because bullies prey on weak people who don't or won't defend themselves. This is the beauty of packing on a little bit of muscle. If you have a little bit of muscle, if you've gained a little bit of muscle, you might have this experience. You're walking in the street late at night and you see a gang of boys up ahead of you. It's dark, they're hooded, you're on your own, and if they decided to attack you, especially if they have knives or guns or whatever, you're done, you're finished. And yet they don't. Why is that? I've had this experience many times, by the way. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, like just alhamdulillah, and it's a ni'mah. I could just walk, bruv. Doesn't alleyways, whatever. And what I noticed was an interesting phenomena. And that phenomena is bullies, cowards, they're looking for easy prey. Even if he knows that he can overpower you, he doesn't want to have to take damage. Do you get it? He wants to be able to steal your phone or kick your ball away, as was in my case, without taking on any damage. If he thinks that there's a possibility that he might sustain an injury, even if he gets what he wants, even if he manages to kick your ball away, even if he manages to steal your phone, if he thinks that he might have to take a punch in the face, might lose a tooth, maybe even break a bone, who knows? Just that thought, the fear of that thought is enough for them to just stay away from you. They can't be asked. There's much easier victims out there. Can't be asked to deal with this guy. It's going to give us a headache. I might have a black eye at the end of this. Sure, we'll get what we want, but there's other weaker guys out there, easier prey. Allow this one. That was the lesson that I learned that day in school. That was the lesson that I have experienced time and again when I'm walking on my own late at night past groups of hooded young men, boys, teenagers typically. And that is why we are going to call Jeffrey Marshmallow out on his BS today. Not just to defend our sister, although our sister has made it explicitly clear that she doesn't actually want to be defended, but it's not about the sister. It's about the bigger picture. That you don't come after family, Muslims, without there being repercussions of some sort, without there being a reckoning of some sort, because that's family. You don't mess with family. We might fight, we might argue, we might heckle, we might have issues internally with each other. But when we present ourselves to the outside world, we are a unified front. Our problems is our problems. That's between us in-house. We'll deal with that inside the family home. As for you, as far as you're concerned, you don't get to chat to us like this. That's my brother. That's my sister. So what if we had just had a fight? That ain't nothing to do with you. That's family. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know the sentiment, and that is the sentiment that you must have as a Muslim for your Muslim brother and sister as well. Now, if I was to speak to the sister Noreen, I would say to her, first of all, coming out online and crying and so on, it gives a bad look to your husband. I'm going to be honest with you, sister. It doesn't make your husband look good, because like, why are you out here? Go cry to your husband, and then your husband should come out online and defend you. So it's not a good look on him, honestly speaking, but that's not the purpose of this stream today. So let's get into it. Before we do that though, I have a feeling that, nah, we're good. We're good. If you have any questions, by the way, that you want answered whilst I'm going through this, you can do that through super chats. Aside from that, I will not be interrupting the flow until we get on to switch gears onto the second part of the stream, which is an open Q&A, inshallah time. First of all, though, we've got 272 of you in here, yeah? And how many likes? Let me see this thing. Right, we've got 268 of you in here and 85. I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. We need to get this to at least 60%. So do me a favor. Once you've liked the video, put it in the chat that you've liked the video. Put it in the chat that you have liked the video, and I will pull your comment up. Go. Bismillah. Someone saying I missed the super chat. My bad. Let me see if I can scroll up and catch it. Let me see. There's been a bare comments, bro. All right. David McKinley, shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. I don't pull up these couple of quid super chats. You know what? Just for you, bro. I'll pull it up for you. Shout out to you, bro. Business ideas. Listen, man, how many business channels are there out there? Look, the day that I want to talk about business stuff, I will talk about it. Right now, it's not my lane. That's why I'm staying out of it. Okay, we have, how many likes we have? We've got 280 and 127 likes. Not enough. I'm sorry. Man like the meme has liked the video. Appreciate you, my man. Yeah, Yamamoto. The silver play button is in the post. It's on the way. I don't know when these things arrive, but I know that it is on the way. Victor O, appreciate you. Who else? Sinep Lambs, like the video. Appreciate you, my man. Yahya Nasim, chilling with Charlie. X Sulo, excellent. All right, let's see how many likes the video has now. We now have 137, 137, 260. I'm sorry, no, we're not carrying on. That's not even halfway. That's not even halfway. Like the video. Like the video if you want to carry on. Otherwise, we're just gonna sit here. You're gonna sit here staring at me. I'm still deciding if I like the video or not. Not sure yet. Dislike the thing, bro. Incandescence, liked. Let's go. Appreciate you, my man. Goo, liked. Mehdi, how do I secure a BBW Muslim wife? Okay, safe, bro. I don't think you're going to be securing anything like that. PlayStation, thank you, my man. Zayan, like the video and the unity. Yes, my guy. Appreciate you, Akhi. All right, let's have a look. 270, 155. That's better. That's better. Okay, let's continue. Let's get into this. Now, I will mute the video in a moment. Sorry, I will mute my mic once I start playing a couple of these videos. But let's just read this quickly. Muslim mother received death threats after exposing LGBTQ TikToker who tried to groom children online. So, for those of you who have no clue what this story is about, you're going to understand in a moment what all the fuss is. Shumarin Nessa, I'm assuming she's a Bangladeshi sister, posted a video exposing an LGBTQ TikToker who was trying to groom children online. The video, which went viral, exposed, quote unquote, trans activist Jeffrey Marshmallow, who uploaded videos targeting kids to speak to him privately and encouraged cutting contact from their parents. After Shumiron's video went viral, she received a threatening email which targeted her daughters and included personal details about her home and children's schools. You know what? Yeah. One thing I've noticed, these people on the left, they masquerade as paragons of peace and civility and be nice, be happy, and all that crap. And they are some of the most violent individuals. Listen, one thing you need to know about human nature, by the way, is generally speaking, you need to interpret actions in their opposite. When you see people not just interpreting in their opposite, it's deeper than that, actually. When you see people insisting on how important it is to be kind and understanding and nice, what they're actually trying to do is bend your hand and twist your arm into accepting whatever comes out of their mouth. Whatever comes out of their mouth, they want you to accept that. It's not because they genuinely care about being kind and nice and calm. Does this look like people who are nice and kind and calm threatening her daughter? They vandalized her vehicle, her car. Does that sound like people who are nice and kind and nice? Not at all. In fact, You will find these individuals are some of the most dangerous individuals. Some of the most dangerous individuals, because this is a power play. Make no mistake about it. This is a ploy to gain power over you, whether it's over your mind, whether it's over whatever the case may be. This is a strategic ploy. But let's carry on.
It's going to be a bit long.
Stop telling trans people that we're inspirational.
Stop telling kids to go on your Patreon and chat to you privately without their parents knowing.
And then a lot of people made stitches of me saying I'm transphobic, I've done a lot of bad stuff. They've even attacked my scarf, my religion, a lot of bad stuff, which I don't want to go into. And these people have also said they are not talking to the kids. Okay, so I did a little bit of digging.
Hi, kids. Hey, kids. I want to talk to the kids. Hi, kids. Hey, kids.
So yeah, there's a lot of videos of them addressing kids. Now, the main video I want to talk about.
Your parents.
Did she just use the correct pronoun, bruv? I'm sure she said them, like to use the correct I'm sure she just used the correct pronoun, because when she said them, who's she talking about? Because he identifies as them, by the way. They, them. I don't get it, bruv. Yeah, I don't understand. But them identifies as them, and I'm pretty sure she just used the correct pronoun.
Screwed up. It's okay to say so. That's why I made a Patreon.
So you want to talk to kids whose parents have screwed up. Okay, guys, this video is going to be a bit long.
Talk about projecting. Flipping hell, mate. You know, mental health is real, man. Mental health is serious. I used to really undermine and underestimate the importance of mental health issues and talking about them and finding resolutions for them. Mental health is real. Mental health is real. Adam Zahaf, these are secrets, my friend. I can't tell you all my secrets, but I appreciate the $5 super chat. Let's go to the next video.
Why? Why you want to talk to these particular kids? Why?
That's why I made a Patreon, so that we could talk about it, so that we could connect in a way that has more privacy, so that we could talk to each other in a way that's more open and stuff that we wouldn't share like in the comments of a video like this. I think you're worthy. And
so you want to talk to kids on a social media platform privately about topics that cannot be talked about in the video of TikTok's comments sections. Because why? Why you want to do that? Why you can't chat about these topics in these comments? Is it because you might get flagged or something? What could be the reason? Could this be one of the reasons? Going no contact with the kids' parents? Because you say in one of your videos how kids can go no contact with their parents. Why? Why you want to talk to these particular kids? Why?
that's why I made a
Yani, this is very interesting to see how much the left has cannibalized itself from going from supposedly being against these sorts of things, which they should be absolutely against. I don't even know if I can say these words online, but you know, grooming, basically, grooming children and so on, to somehow they've come all the way around full circle to doing the very thing that they claim to disdain and hate in the first place. And that's why I say, you know, I was wrong, and I have to retract any statements that I may have made in the past. I don't know if I have, but if I have, with regards to mental health is real and it should not be undermined. And if you are suffering from mental health issues, then you know you definitely should get that help that you need without being shamed. There's no shame in suffering from mental health issues if you are. Just saying, bruv.
Or is it this? You're teaching this more on because this video might get flagged. That's why I don't want to say the word. And this is Jeffrey Marsh's Patreon. You talk about this topic with kids. Now here are just some of the signs of grooming. Literally one of the first ones: gaining access and isolating the victim. Asking them privately to go on Patreon and talking to them privately so you can connect, and then showing these kids that you trust them, you love them, you'll keep their secrets, and to keep them isolated from their parents. And then the icing on the cake is this video.
Hi, beautiful. If you do not have a family that loves you, I'm going to be your family.
No, you can't. You are a stranger on the internet. You are not their family. Oh, and another thing. You can turn off age restrictions on Patreon, so kids can go to Jeffrey Marsh's, their Patreon. Or is it this? You're teaching...
She said there again. So after she put these videos up, Jeffrey Marshmallow sent the woke mob after her. All right.
Okay.
I'll put this video here. This one here.
So I just got an email saying pretty much a threat saying they know where I live. And what scares me the most is they have got my daughter's details on the email, like what time I leave to drop them to school, pick them up. And it's not a coincidence because both of my daughters, they go to 2 different schools, so they know. They've given the school details and everything. So yeah, my daughters are involved now in this. As some of you might know, that my car was damaged in this whole thing.
Like I say, like the optics are not great talking about this online and so on, but you know, maybe there's some khair in it because here we are talking about it now. If she hadn't spoke about it, how would we know about this? I want the sister Noran to know, yeah, I want her to know that the person who leaked information about your daughters and their school and their whereabouts, that's someone you know. That's your neighbor or someone that goes to your school. It's someone close to you. That's somebody you know. You need to reassess your inner circle. You need to reassess that. But you know, we want the gentleman Jeffrey Marshmallow to get the attention that he needs. And so I would like you guys, in the same way that he has, well, he was so rude about it for that matter, sending the mob on Sister Noran, I would like you guys to, you know, share a few words of wisdom with Jeffrey Marshmallow. So what we're going to do right here is the following. I'm going to do this. How do I find this thing, Bev? There we go. So you will find in the stream right now Jeffrey Marshmallow's Instagram link. And I believe, because those of you who watch me, you are obviously intelligent. You're here to learn. You're intelligent individuals. And I believe you will have a few words of wisdom for Mr. Jeffrey Marshmallow. The link is in the stream. There's 350 of you in here right now. And a large percentage of you are waffling in the comments. So instead of doing that, if you could redirect some words of wisdom to Mr. Jeffrey Marshmallow's DM, or indeed his Instagram comments. DM would be better though, because DM, he's going to see the DM comments. When you start getting hundreds of comments, thousands of comments on your posts, you don't even look at them anymore. I don't look at the comments on my Instagram, to be honest with you. Rarely, sometimes just to interact, but very rarely. TikTok, never. There's too many comments, thousands, sometimes tens of thousands. Better to send a DM and let the gentleman, Mr. Jeffrey Marshmallow, know what your views are on this situation. And what's most interesting, by the way, are the comments from his own people. Yeah, even someone from the gay community was like, bro, we disowned you. We ain't claiming you. Somebody from the gay community said that in his comments, in his comment section, like, nah, we ain't claiming you, bruv. See, look, 5,000 comments. Trust me, no one's gonna see that. So you need to send my guy a DM. I just want to go through this real quick. I don't know if you can see that, but the comments, I'll read them out to you. Jen Diang, she goes, women are born, not worn. Justina89, these are women. She says, you need help, ... Another comment says, this man is telling kids to message him privately without their parents knowing. If that isn't pedophile behavior, I don't know what is. 1,550 likes. Jack, the SD, says, stop appropriating womanhood. Yeah, the comments, they completely rinsed him. Even from his own people, bruv. Even from his own people. So I suggest that you drop Jeffrey Marshmallow a few words of wisdom. Send him a DM. Let him know what you think. There's 360 of you in here right now, and by the time this stream is done, it will have around 20,000 views, there or thereabouts. So go ahead. Share some words of wisdom. What do you think about the fact that Mr. Jeffrey Marshmallow has attacked your sister like this? Sister Noran, your family. She's your family. Remember that. Muslims, we're family. How do you feel about that? How do you feel that he sent his mob he's invoked the wrath of his mob, and they have gone so far as to vandalize her car and threaten her with God knows what with regards to her daughters? They know which school her daughters go to, the times she drops them off and brings them back home. That's terrifying, man. When you're just a little old lady, no disrespect to Sister Noran, but that's terrifying for a woman. So I would like you to share your words of wisdom with Mr. Jeffrey Marshmallow and let him know what you think about these shenanigans. All right. That's enough of that guy, bruv. Flip me. Okay. Switching gears. Now, I had a young man message me the other day. And if you're watching, young man, please call in, because my emails, they get so full and then I forget who messaged what. If I don't respond straight away, that's it. I just don't get back. But the young man messaged me, to cut a very long story short, without going into any details. And long story short, he found out that his mother was committing zina, his mum. And not just with one guy either. And he found out through proof on his mother's phone. Messages and photos, and oh God, devastating, bro. Devastating. I've had other questions with regards to other things as well. And the purpose of this live, because this is the last live now, excuse me, before Ramadan, I will not be live streaming in Ramadan. The purpose of this live is for you guys to ask me whatever the hell you want to ask me, frankly speaking. So the link is in the chat. You can call in. I will pin this, in fact, up here. You want to call in and ask me a question? Put this here. Boom. Pin. There you go. Pin message. The link is in the chat. You can use this as an opportunity to ask me whatever you want with regards to these discussions. Like I said to you, man, there are few things more enjoyable in this world than the warmth of a good woman. And I want that for you. I desperately want that for you. Because without it, you will always feel like there's something missing. And anyone who tells you, oh no, I'm fine, men go in their own way and so on, that's all a cope. What, you're going to befriend your right hand or left hand and the Dove soap bar, whatever it is that you use? It's not the same thing, bruv. So that's what I want for you. The link is in the chat, and we will resume in a moment. All right, let's get right into this. Bismillah. Soul Monster, what's going on?
Assalamu alaikum, Mufti.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you doing, bro?
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, because I'm in the States, so yeah, so I just came back from Jummah. I just had a question, just like regarding a situation that personally occurred.
Bismillah, go for it, bro. If I can answer, I will. Bismillah.
Oh, okay. So I'm an Afghan brother, but I obviously, I follow my deen and everything. Pray my 5 prayers, read Quran, study Hadith, the Sunnah, attend Islamic like classes, lectures. I get my knowledge up. Well, the thing is, I was interested in a sister. Everything was good until it was mentioned that my ethnicity was an Arab because the sister is Palestinian. The thing is, at first, the mom was going with it because obviously Afghans are probably the most diverse looking people. They thought I was Palestinian. So when that occurred, they're like, okay, he was cool and all. But then when they found out I was Afghan, they're like, oh, I don't know about that cultural clash. Because the parents are more culturally inclined while the sister is more, deen-wise. So what do you think I should do? Just back up off it or maybe pursue it?
What's the sister? What's the sister's? What's your relationship like with the sister? How deep are you? That's what I want to know.
I mean, we spoke for a couple months. I want to involve a mahram, right?
But
her brothers are not practicing, so that was another issue. And her father is like, "Oh, I don't know for your daughter." She was like, "It's like like I don't know for the daughter."
You can't hear me. Can you hear me, bro?
I can hear you.
That's ages, bro. A couple months talking, that's long, bro. How did that happen?
No, I'm not talking about love. No, it's not like that. I seen the other video with the other brother. I'm not like that. Obviously, my head is level-headed, right?
But how do you find yourself in a situation where you're talking for a couple months without bringing this?
It was like when I say a couple months, I'm saying like 2 months, but it wasn't like lovey-dovey all that. It was just straight up like business. We're like talking about deen.
I don't understand what there is to talk about for 2 months, bruv. For 60 days. I don't even know how many hours. That's a long time.
I don't know, because obviously we were both going to school. I didn't text her like every week, and like once a week, twice a week. That's it. It wasn't like constant, like 7 days a week. But I understand your perspective.
Hold on. What were the texts like? What type of text, bro? I don't understand, bro. I need to understand, Yani. Explain. What are we texting about for 2 months? 60 days. And however many hundreds of hours, thousands of hours. What are we texting about? Could have written a book in that time. Go on, tell me.
I mean, honestly, just because the thing is, obviously, I'm an Afghan brother, so I just explained my culture. She was explaining her culture, things like that, to see if we're compatible, I guess. So obviously, we spoke about Deen, because the thing is, she's a good practicing sister, alhamdulillah. Or both of her like like the Aqidah and other aspects of her Deen, like they match up, they line up. So I'm like, okay, I'll go through with it, So the thing is, her parents were cool and all until it came to my race, because they thought I was from Palestine too. But the thing is,
I'm how emotionally entangled you guys are.
I mean, to be honest with you, because the thing is, I don't really have like attachment issues. Like I could talk to people.
Forget about you. Does she love you?
The thing is, you can't say love until there's a mahram involved.
Okay, but because you didn't give me a straight answer, I know that there are emotions involved now. there is emotions of some sort involved, and this is where it gets sticky now.
Uh-huh.
This is where it gets. This is why, bro, it's so important. When you're talking to a sister, you got to take it to their wali as quickly as possible, if that's an option. If she's non-Muslim, for example, and she doesn't have a wali, well, then she needs to have a wali appointed in her place. If she is in a situation where, for example, her father says, no, you cannot get married, some dads are like this, yeah, and he doesn't have any shari'i reason, then, you know, a wali will be appointed in his place after he has been spoken to by the sheikh and so on. So all of that, but excluding all of that,
Uh-huh.
the problem with talking for 2 months, bro,
You get
60
attached,
days,
right? Yeah.
it's too. Even if it's not love, it's still an attachment of some sort. I was just dealing with a sister, one of my clients recently, going through this exact same thing, and I had to tell her. She's probably watching right now. I told you so. I told you this was going to happen, sister. I told you that was going to happen, and they ended up going their separate ways because it didn't work out in the end, and she's literally heartbroken. The poor sister's heartbroken. I said, I told you.
I mean, honestly, I agree because, you know, women are more emotional based. I think more logical, obviously. I've been seeing your videos all the time, and all your points.
I had to make this point, by the way, for the young men who are watching in the audience right now. Okay, to the young man who is watching, if you are considering on marrying a sister, do not allow it to get to the point where any type of emotions are involved, because the more emotions that are involved, the harder it is to make a rational decision. As soon as you become emotional, all rationale goes out the way. Well, salesmen know this, by the way. A good salesman will never appeal to logic when he wants to sell you something. He'll always appeal to emotion, because people buy on emotion and justify with logic later. The more emotions that get in this situation, the more you will throw logic out the window. Now, situation where you find yourself now, where her family are turning you away. So what's the situation there? Tell me.
So I'm just thinking, because obviously I'm from a different background. So I'm just thinking, what should I do now? Like, how would I involve? Because they only saw me. They never spoke to me or anything like that. Just seen pictures. You know, she described me to them, and they're just like, the father was like, just wait on it, and the mother was like, oh, he's cool and all, until like, oh, he's Afghan. So yeah. So I don't know what should I do? Should I just
have you spoken to the father? And you have had a conversation with the father?
Not yet, no.
So what are you waiting for?
That's fair enough. And also another thing is obviously being
bro. Akhi. What you mean? We're not just gonna wash over that. What do you mean? Oh my days. Give me strength. Yeah, alhamdulillah, Ramadan's coming. I need it, bro. Bro, what do you mean you haven't spoken to the dad?
The things we stopped talking, obviously, at this point, because, you know, her father, because the thing is, she told her father about me, and all he told her is wait. He didn't give her a direct answer. So I'm like, okay, her father said wait. So me and her cut contact, obviously, to not fall into any type of fitna, right? Just you know.
Good. Okay.
And I haven't talked to her since then. So that's why I'm asking you now.
Shout out to you. Excellent. Well done. I'll give you props where props are due.
Because honestly, in this society, you could do whatever. The thing is, you know, I have self-control. You know, I have a sense of, you know, in mind. I'm like, okay, if we can't pursue it right now, just leave it. I just make.
Do you really like this sister? Do you really like her, or is it kind of like I kind of like her?
I really want, like, because the thing is, my main point is like Dean and Akila, like we both follow, you know, sense of Dean. So yeah, we similar background. So yes, I'm really interested in this sister.
Okay, well then you've got an uphill struggle. Not gonna lie to you, but if you really like her, then go to her father, and just take it from there. The situation is not difficult, by the way. I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna play out. Okay, you're gonna go to her dad, and then he's either gonna be open to the discussion or he's gonna turn you away.
Oh, another thing is another dynamic, I guess, is she's from a different like state, so she's like far, so it's like traveling distance, like plane.
So then, okay, if you get married, what's gonna happen?
I'm not saying no, you're right. I don't care about that. I'm saying, like, should I just call up the father straight up?
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, you call the father, bro. It's 2023, bro. Just call the dad. He probably won't want some next guy rolling up on his doorstep anyway. Like, yo, big man, I want to marry your daughter. It's a bit intrusive.
That'd be kind of awkward.
Yeah, it's a bit intrusive. So just call the guy. But this is how it's going to play out. You're going to call him, and he's either going to be open to the discussion or he's not. If he's open to the discussion, alhamdulillah. If he's not, and he slams the door in your face, then you will come to a crossroads, and that crossroads is you let the sister go and you be done with it. You just move on, or you involve an arbitrator, a sheikh of some sort, who will then try to speak to the father, And if the father, it can get to the point where if the father is being wholly unreasonable and he is not open to the discussion and he doesn't have any religious reasons to turn you away, you could technically marry her anyway. But this is like, this is worst case scenario. It's not a good situation because she's gonna lose her family, and
Yeah.
it's just all long, bruv. It's just all long and messy. So just the funny thing is, bro, most of us already know what to do. You know what you need to do. Call dad
Yeah.
and take it from there.
I mean, another aspect is we're from different cultures. My parents are pretty set bound on like, oh, getting your own culture. But I'm the man of it. I'm the man. I don't need
How old
your
are you?
permission.
How
I'm
old?
currently 22. I'm attending uni.
Okay, you're 22. Like I said to you, Akhi, go speak to her father, inshallah ta'ala, as quickly as possible. You've deaded all contact with her.
Yeah, I don't talk to her at all. We
Shout out to
both
you.
mutually agree not to avoid fitna.
Excellent, fantastic. So you've deaded all contact, great. So now, if you are still interested in pursuing, speak to her dad. The moment you get back in contact with her, bruv, yeah, that's when all sorts of troubles are coming your way. Especially if her family are getting in the way of her marrying you. You could, worst case scenario, you could literally fall into haram.
Yeah,
You
exactly. Yeah, like avoiding zina or fitna.
Yeah, bro. So just like speak to the dad. I'm
Because
gonna bring on the
honestly,
next caller, my man.
Because honestly, at the end of the day, like not to be like it's
You know what to do,
pretentious,
my
but
man.
like obviously, like I'm her family did like my parents. Everything was checked out. They thought I was from the same country, just until they just found out just a different title. Like, oh, you live in a different.
Maybe once he speaks to you, he'll realize, you know what, I kind of like this guy.
Uh-huh.
But he's gonna need to speak to you first. Call him.
100%.
All right, my man. Look after yourself. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Right. Sentient facts. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh, bro. How you saying? What you saying, man?
Alhamdulillah. What's your name, bro?
Alhamdulillah. Sentient fact as it is on the screen. I obviously don't want to give out my personal name for obvious reasons.
All right, go
But
for it.
so this is gonna be kind of irrelevant towards the stream. But I've been watching you for quite a while now.
No,
And
it's not irrelevant. It's not irrelevant. It's open Q&A now. It's absolutely fine.
Right, okay, yeah. So, brother, if you could kind of provide some clarity with regards to what you said on a previous podcast with Ali Dawa. You mentioned something about the Tidjani tax. So I don't know if you're being serious or not, or whether you're being trollish. I'm quite a controversial figure myself. I do like to do a bit of trolling myself, but if you can just kind of clarify with what you meant by the Tidjani tax. Like, I understand why you wouldn't want your wife to kind of go out and work, because obviously, the obvious reasons, she could kind of mix in with the opposite sex and stuff like that. But let's say if she was at home, she was doing her own thing, and she was bored, like she'd just like to kind of in her own free time, like make money out of herself. Like, would you still then kind of do the same thing, or would you kind of let her allowed to have her own money?
So the first thing I'm going to do is, because I don't want to bore my regular viewers, because I've already answered this. So what I'm going to do is this. Okay, you can see that. Yes, you can see that. So you see this video here. My cursor is hovering over it. Should men cook and clean? I've actually answered this question already on this stream here. On this particular video here, should men cook and clean? But so out of respect for my audience, Yani, I don't want to go over the same thing.
Yeah, no worries, bro. No worries, man.
I will summarize for you, seeing as you're here. It's not a problem, inshallah. I will summarize again. And what I said on that stream is that you are absolutely right. You are not allowed to forcibly take any money from your wife. Okay.
Right.
So I said, if a man is in a situation, and as I mentioned on the Ali Dawa podcast, a lot of families need 2 incomes to survive. So this discussion just goes out the window for most average families in the first place.
Right.
But if a man is able to provide for his family on his own, and his wife insists on working, and he doesn't have the cojones or the authority to tell her to just be quiet. Stay at home.
But bro, sorry to cut you off. Sorry.
I'm coming. I'll probably answer your question as I continue. If he
Right.
doesn't have the authority to say that, then he can present her with 2 options. Option number 1, which is she voluntarily and happily, from her own free will, without being forced, obliges the 79% Tidjani tax. But this has to be from her own free will. I'm not going to force you to pay it to me, because I can't do that. She must agree to this of her own accord. If she disagrees and says, no, I disagree, I don't accept this, then the response is, no problem, sweetheart. قعدي بالبيت روحي طيبي. Go back home and cook some nice food because you ain't working.
Right. So does this apply even if you're still at home working and not going outside and intermixing with other people?
No, look, if you've got online business and it's not taken away, that's no problem. My issue,
So this rule wouldn't apply if she was at home working then?
it depends, yani. Is this online job consuming many hours of the day, and she's so distracted that she's unable to interact with the children properly? The house is a mess. The dinner's not ready. It depends.
Okay, so as long as she's fulfilling all her responsibilities in the house, right? She's not going outside and intermixing with the opposite gender,
as long as she's
and you know
not
it's not
taking value
consuming much of.
away, as long as she's not taking value away from you, khalas, do what you like after that. It's about an exchange of value. Do you understand? Are you with
Yeah, definitely, bro.
That's it. It's just about an exchange
100%.
of value. So it's not that deep, bro. I mean, it's a play on words.
No. I wasn't really sweating it, man. Come on, man. You know how it is, man. Like, bro. To be honest, I've been questioning this, from the sisters in it, and I haven't been able to kind of give my own opinion. What I have, obviously, from my part, I've mentioned that she can obviously work at home, and sisters have asked me, kind of, would you take her money? I'm like, nah. Like,
Yeah, but
if
hold
it's
on,
her
bro.
money,
Are you
she's
able to
staying
look
at home.
after? Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Are you able to take care of her on your own? Don't shoot yourself in the foot, bro. Do you understand?
I'm making big P's like that right now, bro. But yeah, I get what you're saying, man. 100%. But yeah, man. So I do kind of agree with what you're saying, but in the wide scheme of things, obviously, I think it's fair to have kind of like a disagreement, to kind of agree to disagree. But I kind of understand the gist of your argument. Fair enough. Obviously, you're a quite controversial figure yourself, so.
How long have you been watching me for? Is it off the back of the?
Since the that lady, the pearly. I don't exactly know her name, but yeah, her.
Okay, wicked. Well, listen, my man, I'm gonna bring on the next call. I've got quite a few people.
Yeah, right. So also one other thing, hope you don't mind if I can just shout out my TikTok live. I do controversial topics as well. So it's Sentient Facts for those that are listening. But yeah.
Go on then. What is it? Sentient what?
Sentient Facts, as it says on the screen, bro. And I appreciate that shout out, bro.
There you go. Sentient Facts. Check him out, inshallah. Take care, Habib.
Cheers, bro. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, let's bring on my guy. Nope, my guy disappeared. Yusuf, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother.
How are you, sister Yusuf?
I'm good, thank you.
You have
I just recently
name for a son, because my son has the same name, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah, yeah, it's a beautiful name. Muhammad Yusuf, he's 1 year old now. Yeah, I love the name. I recently found your channel probably like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I've literally been binge watching all your videos. I'm now 22 and I have a 1 year old son. Unfortunately, I'm having some issues with my husband. And so you could say I was bad in a way that we were having like major issues with each other. And so I left the day before Eid last year. And unfortunately, because of the rule of this country and certain things that I said, and that the fact that we have a young child, English law, social services, things like that got involved, and it became basically impossible for me to go back. Now things are starting to kind of like drift away, but now my family don't want me back with him. And so I'm just finding it really hard. Like, it just feels like I'm trying to keep the family together, whereas him, it's like, I just don't know how to. I want to be a good wife. That's basically how I'm asking.
Hold on. We just had a whole bunch of information, and it's not making coherent sense to me right now. So, what exactly is the issue? Number one, are you two married? Like religiously, are you married?
Yep, we're married. We're still married.
But you're not living together.
No, we're not living with each other. We see each other once a week at the moment.
So you do see each other then. So you have a marriage of some sort.
Yeah, we do. We're just having some issues, and my family don't want me to go back with them.
Who doesn't have issues, Yusuf? Who doesn't have issues? We all have issues. That's normal. Yani, why don't your family want you to be? Why do your family want you to leave the father of your son? What is their reason? If your family was sat here right now and I asked them this very question, what would they say in response?
Well, they would say like, oh, he didn't provide for her anything, and like he's only working for his family back home, and also that like obviously he didn't treat me nicely. He's a bit aggressive type, you could say. I'm not going to go further into it because I don't want to talk bad of him, but you can understand. And so I know him as a person, right? And I know what he is, but I find
when you say aggressive, what does that mean? Did he beat
like
the hell out of you?
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
Okay, fine. Go on.
But I really want to make my marriage work. So I just want to get some advice, to be honest. That's all.
Okay.
And what to do basically with him, because
does your husband, first and foremost, does your husband pray?
Yeah.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
And alhamdulillah, he's also helped me a lot in terms of Islam and knowledge, and becoming better as well. And so yeah.
Excellent. Let me tell you something, Sister Yusuf, yeah? And before I get to that, does your husband provide for you and take care of you to the best of his ability?
You could say, yeah. I mean, he's working like, in a takeaway. He doesn't have much money himself, so it's not like,
but he's trying. He's
yeah,
trying.
he does. Yeah, if he does have money, he will spend it on me. Put it this way.
Okay, mashallah, excellent.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Sister Yusuf, yeah? Nobody is going to love Yusuf, your son, and care for him and worry about him and have concern for him as much as your husband will. No man that you marry after your husband, if you choose to move on, will care about Yusuf as much as Abu Yusuf does. You need to know this. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you do get a divorce, okay, your family are not going to be the ones marrying you. So they're telling you to get a divorce from this man. But then if you do get a divorce, you're going to be single on your own. Do you understand this?
Yeah, I understand.
You're going to be harboring some level of resentment towards them once you realize how rough the marriage situation is out there for a single mom, how difficult it is. And you're going to be holding a level of resentment towards your family for that. You're going to be even blaming them.
Yeah, I understand. It's because the thing is, right, I've heard from my dad and cousins as well, and they're like, it's simple. Like, you can find someone else, and they'll look after the kid. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, is it me who's different, or is it my family's thinking who's different?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. You just said something just now. You said they're telling you that you'll be able to find someone else. Who is they? I want to know specifically which family member said this.
It's literally all my family. It's like my mom, my brothers, and my cousins. Not my dad. My dad's never mentioned it.
Is your mom divorced from your father?
Yep, and she's remarried, and my dad never remarried.
You see that shit? I'm sorry, I have to swear. Astaghfirullah. Allah, please forgive me. Astaghfirullah. You see that shit? Your mom, with the greatest of respect to her, Yusuf, and this is why I asked you that question, because I knew what the answer was going to be. She is recruiting to her cause of spinsterhood. She wants her daughter back full-time, because whilst her daughter is married, she doesn't have full-time access to her daughter. She doesn't have a mate. She wants you to be full-time mates with her by being a divorcee with her. That's why I asked you. That's why I asked you. I was like, there's no way this woman's mother is married. Not a chance. No way. No way.
No, and she actually remarried and has now 3 kids, like young kids as well. They literally have 1 year difference between me and my kid, my son, and my you could say youngest stepsister.
Who else from your family? Who else from your family is inciting you or encouraging you to divorce your husband? As in, like, they're a loud voice.
Literally all of them. My brother, they have a go at me. They have a go at me and start getting angry if they see me speaking to him. And I'm like, I'm not talking to like a random boy. I'm talking to my husband. But it feels like, the way I have to hide it from them is that I'm talking to someone random.
Right.
Because they'll get angry.
Right. Okay. So you said your brother as well, right?
Yep, my brothers and my cousins as well. If they
were here on this conversation right now, and I asked them, guys, why are you encouraging Yusuf to get a divorce? What would they say? They
would say, oh, the guy is abusive and he doesn't look after her. And yeah, that would be their reason.
If I ask them, what does abusive mean and what does he doesn't look after her mean? Because Yusuf just told me, despite the fact that her husband works in a takeaway, he does his best to spend on her. And when he has money, he does spend on her. How would they respond to that?
They wouldn't really have a clear answer. They've barely spoken to him themselves. Like, they just don't really have anything. Because of the way we want.
So they've barely spoken to him, which means by extension they barely know him, and
yet they barely know him.
So they barely spoken to him, and they barely know him, and yet they want you to divorce him.
Yep, unfortunately.
Sister, if you were me right now, what would you tell yourself based upon these facts that we have just extracted?
I would tell myself to like really think it through, because this is what I've been doing now for the past couple of months. I'm literally like stuck, because either way, it's like either go back, like, you know, either be with my husband and let my family down and make them upset with me and maybe cut off with me, or
Sister, think about what is there to think about? There's nothing to think about. You have just told me from your own admission that your family don't know him. They've barely spoken to him, and that your husband, despite the fact that he has laid a hand on you in the past, that he does his best to provide for you and care for you with what he has, with the means that he has, which is an indication to me that he cares about you, even if he has his shortcomings. What is there to think about, Sister Yusuf?
I'm in a really difficult position in the fact that if I do say that to my dad that like I'm gonna go back with him, I just know my whole family's gonna react really badly to it.
Right. So let's game theory this out. Let's play this out. So on the one hand, if you get back with your husband and you make it official that you are back with him, the family are going to turn on you. But here's the thing, Sister Yusuf, is that on the other hand, you leave your husband, whom I can tell you still love. Am I correct in saying that you still love him?
Yeah, 100%.
So you still love him 100%, your words, and I have no doubt that your husband loves you. You leave him, you're going to be heartbroken. You're going to be yearning for him. You're going to still be thinking about him. And worse than that, you are going to be holding a whole bunch of resentment and maybe even hatred towards your family for having pushed you to divorcing the man that you love in the first place, the father of Yusuf, the father of your son, no less. And trust and believe, you're not going to find another man who cares for Yusuf as much as Abu Yusuf does. So those are your two predicaments. Predicament A, you have to pick your poison now. There is no, oftentimes when we ask questions, the reason why we're asking questions is because we want the panacea. We want the answer, the solution that has no pain. I need to just let you know, Yusuf, that whether you take the red pill or the blue pill, as Morpheus would say, there's going to be pain involved. You must ask yourself, which pain are you more happy and willing to live with? The pain of regret of divorcing the man that you love, or the pain of your family unjustly turning on you for a protracted period of time? It won't be forever, by the way. They'll get over it eventually. But for a limited period of time, they will be unhappy with you that you have decided to continue being with this man. Which pain are you more willing to live with?
I would, if it was completely up to me, I would say to my dad that, I want to go back to him and that my dad would be okay with it and he wouldn't be sad or anything like that. But
Sister Yusuf, it is completely up to you. I mean, firstly and foremostly, you are still your husband's wife, which means right now you are answerable to your husband, not your father. I'm sorry, Annie, I have to say it. When a father gives his daughter's hand in marriage, that's it. You're answerable to your husband. So whilst we do our best to maintain ties of kinship and to be good you should be good to your father and so on. If your dad is trying to get you to leave your husband without just reasons, I'm sorry, you just need to stand by your husband. You need to stick by your husband. There's nothing to think about.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm really hopeful that my family will accept it. They'll be okay with it.
I'll tell you, your family will come around in the end. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever told your family when you've had an argument or a fallout with your husband? Have you ever gone to your family and told them what happened?
Yeah, this is probably the reason why things are like the way they were. Because my dad and my husband were actually starting to kind of build a good relationship with each other. And then I had issues with him and I would call my dad and my dad would come and he'd speak to us and he'd sort it out. Like, he'd kind of like get us like to normal. And then he would go, and I did this like 3-4 times, which I regret now because I was thinking I was doing something good, like trying to get a third person to sort it out. And so my dad left the country and then we had a massive fight. And because my dad wasn't there, I just did the first thing I thought was that because my mom had been putting in my head for the past so many months that I just thought, you know what? I'm done with him. How could he be like this with me? And I just walked out, took my baby and walked out and put myself in not a great situation.
You walked out without your husband's permission?
Yeah.
Oh my days. Sister Yusuf, I need you to hold on to your seat right now. Okay? Buckle up your seatbelt. The reason why you are in this situation, the reason why your family hate your husband, or at least dislike him and want you to leave him, is because of you. You are the reason for that. It's your fault. It's your fault. Why? Because number one, you told me they barely speak to him. Number two, they barely know him, which means anything they do know is from you. And if they hate him after barely knowing him and barely speaking to him, it's because of what you have told them about him in the heat of the moment whilst you were angry. So your family feel this way because of you. It's your fault. Never, ever, ever, unless it's extreme scenario, extreme, something major, involve your family on petty squabbles and arguments that you have with your husband, because you are going to make up. That's what most couples do. They make up and they get over it. But you will look like a clown once you do get back with your husband, because the family are like, hold on a minute. You were just telling us that you wanted to leave him and you didn't like him and he's this, that, and the third, and now you're getting back with him? Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest. I'm just living in regret now for the past couple. Yeah, I've literally been in regret.
Yeah.
I
And you
just
know what?
wish
But
I never took that step.
here's the light at the end of the tunnel, though, Yusuf, okay? Is that you might be living in regret right now, but subhanAllah, lucky for you, is that there is still a chance. There is still hope for you. And that chance is that, number one, you're still married to your husband who still loves you and you still love him. So there is still chance of reconciliation. In fact, by the sounds of it, you two are already together anyway. Number two, if you learn this lesson from today and don't involve your family anymore on your petty squabbles, they are going to move on and forget, because that's just human beings. Time is a healer, as they say. We just move on and forget. But if you make this mistake again of going to them every time you have an argument or a petty squabble of some sort, you can't blame your family for hating him or feeling some type of way towards him, or indeed wanting you to divorce him. It's because of you.
Yeah, I do feel like it was mostly my fault for causing this scenario and situation, because things were
Well,
actually getting better. But
in fairness to you, you are taking accountability. You're not fighting me on any of these points. So props to you for that. And I can hear the regret in your voice, by the way. I can hear it. So from this day forward, what are you going to do differently with your husband and your family, for that matter?
I think I just need to just take a backseat and just let others deal with things, instead of trying to put my
What
foot in
in the
all the time.
falafel does that mean? That sounds great, but what does that mean? What's the action
Oh,
plan?
in terms of picking on every single thing that my husband does, if he's out till this time, or if he's acting like this, why he had a haircut, why he posted this picture on WhatsApp, these kind
Oh,
of things, because this is the reason why.
is that what you're like, Sister Yusuf? Are you like that?
Yeah,
Like,
you could say.
give me strength. Flipping hell, mate. That's suffocating. That's absolutely suffocating. And let me guess, when you're like that, he wants as much space from you as possible.
Yeah, that's true. He'll end up blocking me and stuff. And then he'll unblock me as well the next day.
Do you have an anxious attachment style? Do you get anxious quickly in a marriage?
Yeah.
What happened in your childhood?
Well, this is a complicated situation, to be honest.
It's
My
always
mom and dad didn't have a good marriage. Apparently she didn't want to marry him, and my grandma forced her, and then that happened. And my dad treated her really good. Like, no one can say that. He treated her really nicely. He adored her. He loved her. And then she left. I have two brothers, and it's me. And then she left back when I was 10 years old the first time, and she called the police on my dad, and we were all there. And then she used to come back and forth, and then because I was always close to her, I ended up going to live with her when I was 12 years old. And then from age 12 to 19, I was living with my mom. And then obviously she got married again, so then there was my stepdad involved, and she would talk bad about my dad and my brothers and my grandma. And so I kind of started disliking / hating this side of my family, my dad and my brothers.
Have you ever called the police on Abu Yusuf?
Yeah.
Like mother, like daughter. Apple don't fall far.
I mean, that's exactly what he says, because the way you speak and the way you are reminds me a lot of him. So I wanted to get some advice from someone who has, you could say, a similar type of personality that isn't him, if they agree and they kind of say the same.
You know,
Because
I'm gonna give you your props because you're taking this on the chin very well. So, you know, shout out to you. But this is a learning moment for the chat right now. Yeah, vindication for the many videos, the hundreds of videos that I put out on YouTube. This is a learning moment right now. And again, props to Yusuf. Shout out to her for taking it all on the chin and in her stride. But like mother, like daughter, the apple doesn't fall far. We have a habit of imitating what we grew up seeing. This is especially the case with regards to girls. Boys as well, for that matter, but especially girls. How you saw your mother behave with your father is how you are behaving with your husband. The light at the end of the tunnel for you, Yusuf, is that you still have a chance. You can still fix this. That's the good news. The question is, will you?
Well, that's what I want to do, and like, you know, I'm being pulled from, you could say, every point. Like, you know, my husband's cold with me sometimes, he's fine with me sometimes, he's very cold with me, and then my family is like so like against him. So I'm kind of just like working against everyone, it seems, like just trying to pull it together, because the last thing I want is to have to like, I wasn't in my clear mind when I could say, like, when I left him, I was,
Yusuf, are you obedient towards your
yeah,
husband talking about?
yeah.
If you wanted to leave the house in it whilst you were upset and your husband said to you, no, you can't leave, would you leave or stay?
I would stay.
You would stay. So that time that you left the house, did he ask you to stay or did he give you permission to leave?
He wasn't in the house himself, he left. He
Oh,
went
he
out.
left.
Yeah, he wasn't in the house, and then I just got up and I was just like, I was like upset, I was everything, and then he just like, you know, we had a massive fight, and then this was going on for a couple of days, right? And he would have come home to like
What did
late
you fight
nights.
about? What did you fight about? Because usually
Oh,
these big fights are about trivial issues. It's usually
oh
the
yeah,
case.
I had the news on, and he said to me, "Oh, you know," he swore at me, and he was like, "Oh, why have you got the music on loud?" And I was like, "Hang on a minute, it was just the news, and it wasn't even loud; it was on low." Because he works till late, because he works in like a takeaway slash fast food place, so he would work like till 2, 3, and then obviously I had the baby, so then I would be in the other room, and we lived in like literally, we live in like a room type of place, like it's very small, so it's not like, you know, I can just go somewhere and it'd be quiet, and then like he would be able to be in peace. It wasn't like that. Like I would have to be extra quiet while he's asleep, and that too with the baby as well, because he'll just flip if he's asleep and there's a bit of noise, he'll go off on one. And so, I mean, to be honest with you, before that, he would come back home at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't call him during the day, or I wouldn't even say hi, like salam. I wouldn't give salam to him or anything like that,
He would
because I
come
would
home
think,
from what? He would come home from what or where at 1 or 2 in the morning?
mostly from work. And he'd finish work, and then for like an hour or two, he would chill with his friends, and then he would come home.
Okay.
And so
And
even the day,
did you give him a hard time over that?
yeah, all the time. But he was like that since we got
Do
married. He's
do
always been
you
like that.
hold on. Why? What's the fear? When he's done with work and he goes out with a friend of his or friends of his for 1 or 2 hours, what's your fear?
Fear isn't anything. It's just he starts mimicking them, and
It's
his
always a fear, Sister Yusuf. There's always a fear. The reason why you're reacting in this way is because you're worried about something. What's the worry? What triggers in your mind when he's out after work with his mates for a couple of hours? What is it?
he could be doing anything. I don't necessarily trust him on certain things he's done, and the way he says
Has
things
he
as
ever
well.
has he ever cheated on you?
Not from what I know, but
Okay, no,
there's been multiple.
Then he hasn't. Okay.
No,
So you don't have any reason to distrust him, is what I'm saying.
not particularly. No.
So this is rooted in your childhood trauma from what you saw your mum going through with your dad and how she was behaving and the things that she used to say and the anxieties she used to have and so on. And you are literally recreating this in the dynamic of your marriage with your husband. Let me tell you something, Yusuf. Yeah. Do you consider Abu Yusuf, your husband, to be a good man? Would you say he's a good man by and large?
Yeah.
He's a good man. Have you ever been married before?
No.
You have one blind spot, and then you married him as a virgin. So you
Yeah.
have one blind spot, and that blind spot is this. This is the one blind spot. Pay attention to the chat. Pay attention. The one blind spot virgins have is that they don't have any comparison to compare against. They have no prior experience of what men are like. And they believe that this man, if she becomes disenchanted with him, she believes that she could easily find someone better, because she doesn't actually realize how rough it is out there, and how average most men are, and how other men are not going to care for your son in the way that your husband, his father, Yusuf's father, will care for him. That's the one blind spot that virgin women have, is that they have no, and that's why you'll find a lot of women who do initiate divorce and they get married again for a second or a third time. They live with a lot of regret, still thinking about the first husband. Ask me how I know, rude boy. Listen to me, let me tell you something. Let me share this with you, yeah? One of my wives who took a khul from me, a khul meaning the woman initiates the divorce. Wallahi al-azim, uqsimu billah, while she was married to her new husband, she called me up for marriage advice. Uqsim billah, she called the ex-husband for marriage advice. What does that tell you? Read between the lines, guys. What does that tell you? Still up, the memory is still up there. The one thing you don't want to live with, Yusuf, is regret. And I can guarantee you two things. Number one, if you keep doing what you're doing, your husband's going to leave you. Either he's going to leave you or you're going to leave him, but this marriage is coming to an end. And number two, you are going to live with a lifetime of regret. Do you want that for yourself?
No. And the thing is, I think maybe it's misinterpreting some things, but I've never had the intention ever like to be with someone else other than him. I never did, never probably will, because I can't. Like, he's my one and only, whether it's him or no one. When I left, I was thinking like, oh, it's okay, you know, my son will grow up and he'll look after me. You know, I was in that thinking. I never ever thought like, oh, I'll just get married to someone else. Like obviously I know it's halal and like you can do that and it's fine, but personally it doesn't sit well with me. I don't like this whole broken family, you know, having stepdads, step siblings and this and that. It doesn't sit well with me. From my experience and just in general as well, I don't like the sound of it. I don't agree with it at all. But I'm not, yeah.
Sister, you know, honestly, you sound like a good sister. I'm going to be honest with you. You don't sound like an evil, vindictive, calculating type of wife. You sound like a good sister who's just had a few rough experiences in her childhood and has stacked the odds against her by telling her family bad things about her husband. But I don't think you're a bad person. And you sound like you really want this marriage to work.
I do, I really do, but I just don't know how I'm gonna go about it. And the thing is, right, like our main problems were so trivial. Now that I think about it, it was like so stupid. Over stupid issues we'd be having fights, and I wouldn't really like talk back to him much. But he's like a type of guy that he's like, you know, I can't stand it if a woman tries to talk back or give me attitude. He's like
Neither
that.
can
Like,
I. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Why are you talking? If you're, listen, you have to understand something. It's a respect thing, Sister Yusuf. If your husband is telling you to zip it, zip it. You know, let me tell you something, yeah? As a man can live in a marriage with his wife not loving him. He can live with that. A man can live with a woman knowing that this woman doesn't love him. Wallahi, he can. If he's got kids and there's a lot to lose and he wants to keep this family together, he will stay in that marriage even if she doesn't love him. But there is one thing, Yusuf, that a man cannot live without in a marriage, or indeed any relationship, for those non-Muslims who are watching me right now. Do you know what that thing is?
Respect.
Respect. You don't have to love me, but you will damn well respect me. And if I tell you to shut your mouth, you're going to shut your mouth. Because that's a respect thing at that point. That's how important respect is. So if your husband is a man whom, by your own admission, loves you, takes care of you to the best of his ability with the limited means that he has, if he tells you to sit down and shut up, sit down and shut up. Because if you do, I guarantee you, Yusuf, I guarantee you, the moment will pass and he will see the obedience that you are showing towards him, and it will melt him, and he's going to feel bad, and then he's going to want to do nice things with you afterwards. On the flip side, I can also guarantee you, if you grate on him and get in his face and disrespect him, then you're just going to have a hellish marriage.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like a lot of this happened mostly because of him as well, like just not putting in effort. Like the day my son was born and he came back from hospital, he went out to chill with his friends, and he'd be doing that all the time.
So
And so
what?
I would say to
So
him,
what, Yusuf? So what?
it is not
So
about
what?
so what, but there has to be some sort of compassion, or like,
Listen. He wanted to go and see his friends afterwards. Was he there with you in the hospital?
yeah, I mean,
He's
he
a better
couldn't stay
man
with me
than
in
me.
hospital.
He's a better man than me because I go to sleep when my wife goes into labor. How about that? You must have seen those videos online. Well, my wife goes into labor, man's going to sleep, bruv. I wish you all the best. I make
Well,
sure
I
A&E
personally
is
don't
there to
think
take care
that's
of you.
right.
I go to bed. So
I
your
personally
husband's
don't
a
think
better
that's
man than
right.
me. Sorry?
I said I personally don't think that's right. Like, if your wife is in labor, maybe you should like at
The
least stay
discussion
awake.
here is not whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying your husband's a better man than me.
Yeah.
Because I go to sleep, Yusuf. Your husband firmed it. He sat there in the labor ward, in the sore house, in the house of horrors, listening to all this screaming and all the rest of it. And he was there holding your hand, comforting you, giving you words of comfort, even though he felt like flipping fish out of a fishbowl, walking on the street, because that's how men feel in the labor ward, completely not our forte. But he was there. And he firmed it with you. And then afterwards, my man just wanted a bit of fresh air. He just needed a breather. He needed a bit of space. You know, when a woman gives birth, all of a sudden she releases a lot of a particular hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is a bonding hormone. And this bonding hormone is what makes the mother want to love the child and wake up at any movement of the child and have a lot of patience and sabr for the child as well. You gave birth. He didn't. He's not flooded with oxytocin. He doesn't have those bonding hormones at that moment in time. So whilst you may have found it or felt it to be a slight, that he was slighting you, the fact that he wanted to go out with his mates, that emotion was amplified. It was on steroids for you because your system was flooded with oxytocin. I'm just letting you know, sister, that he didn't go out with his mates, Yusuf, because he didn't care about you. He didn't go out with his mates because he doesn't care about his son. He went out with his mates because he just needed a breather after witnessing the birth of his child. Was it his first child as well?
Yeah, our first child.
Of course he needed a breather after that. Who wouldn't? First time having a kid, first experience, cut the man some slack.
No, I guess so. I don't know. I think I'm very sensitive, to be honest, that I just pick on everything. It doesn't really work that well for me.
Again, shout out to you for the self-accountability and introspection. I respect that.
I think another thing is as well. I don't know if most women do this, but personally, what I know what I've done is that like when I got married to him, I basically like any other aspect of my life I kind of just destroyed, like just didn't care about anymore, and my focus was just completely him, and that was it. I have no friends currently, no kind of social life. I don't go out anywhere. I only go out once a week and just to see him. Even when I was with him as well, I wouldn't leave the house, only to appointments or like once in a blue moon to go out shopping with him.
Why do you have no friends?
I don't know. I just wasn't bothered. It was just like, oh, it's him. Like he's everything all in one. And I think that's what made things worse as well, because I put every single like aspect of my life on him. And so obviously he's not going to complete that, because you have different relationships with different people, and he can't be everything.
Do you know what's happened here, Yusuf? Is that you have no friends, okay? you've lost your family, or at least they're not happy with you right now, and you have no other support system in your life except your husband. That's too much pressure. You're asking too much from one person. No wonder why he wants his space. No wonder why you guys are fighting. You need a healthy relationship with other people other than your husband, Yusuf. You need that. SubhanAllah. You know what? I feel like I have lived my experiences to be able to give you this right now so that you don't make some dumb mistakes that some women make and end up regretting for the rest of their life. You need good friends. A couple, you don't need many, just a couple of good sisters who can give you some good reminders, and you can, give what's the word I'm looking for? Offload all of your emotional needs onto them. Whenever any of my wives want to have their emotional talks, I say no problem. Either talk to each other or talk to your mates. I ain't here for that emotional stuff. Yeah, that's what your mates are for. If you are looking for a solution, I'm your guy. Talk to me. I'll give you the solution. But if it's just talk for the sake of talk, I hate that. And all men hate that. We hate talk for the sake of talk. You need friends, Yusuf, ladies, sisters, that you can have that type of female feminine conversation with, because your husband's not the guy for it. And now there's too much pressure on him to not just be your husband, but for him to basically be your mom, your dad, your girlfriends that you should have had, and all like it's too many people. It's too much pressure.
No, I think that's one of the biggest reasons. When I actually look at myself, then I realize, it probably was like probably last year I left my house that room. I probably left like 5 times in that whole year. It probably didn't do good for me. I think that's probably why.
So
I just lost it a bit.
You've already had a bad example of how a marriage should operate from your mum when you were younger. All right, you saw your mum call the police on your dad, get a divorce from him, and so on. Then after that, you've told your family a lot of bad things about your husband, which you now regret, because now your family, who hardly know your husband, think bad things about him and understandably want you to leave him because you've told them bad things about him. Then on top of that, you don't have any friends to be able to have other relationships with outside of the relationship that you have with your husband. This is like a boiling pot for a divorce that you will no doubt have many regrets. So alhamdulillah, you came on here and we've established 3 things. Number 1, you're going to stop talking badly about your husband to your family. Number 2, you're going to reignite the relationships that you have with your old friends. Yeah, good friends, not any old friends, good friends. And number 3, leave the man alone. If he wants to go out, let him go out. If he comes home late one day, don't ask him, where were you? Unless you want to be his mum, don't mother him. Because the moment you mother him, he's going to become like a boy. Either he will acquiesce and give in to you and start behaving like a child, or he will constantly fight you. Both outcomes are bad. If he wants to go out with his mates, let him go out with his mates. Who are you? You're not his mum. You're his wife. You are his subordinate. You should be accounting yourself to him. You should be telling him when you go out and when you come home, not the other way around. He's your boss. Since when does the boss tell the employee, oh, I'm checking out, employee, and I'll cut? No. You account yourself to him. He doesn't account himself to you like that. Let the man do his thing. And guess what, Yusuf? If you do that, he's going to want to spend more time with you. He's going to want to be around you more anyways, because that's the way passion works. When you give someone space, they appreciate that and they want to come towards you. When you suffocate them with your neediness and your anxiety and your stress and your moaning, they pull away from you.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to leave you on that and bring on the next caller. Take care.
Thank you so much, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm so glad we had that call, and I am 100% sure there's 443 of you in here right now. I am 100% sure there's a couple of sisters who needed to hear that conversation. And it's just small tweaks that can make such a big difference. Al-Isbani, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. About the subject of Jeffrey Marsh, man, I didn't hear about this before I don't really keep too much up on like social media stuff. So yeah, like your channel is one of the ones I'll be watching. And I worked for a long time and like really close to kids, and so for that reason, I wanted to call up and just kind of share a bit of my experience. And I'll say, like,
please do.
In that capacity, as a counselor, working with not as a counselor, but in a legal setting, because they are all like delinquents. And we're talking in the southern United States, so of course there's cultural differences everywhere. But man, from that element, like of the kids, that the boys in particular that identified as from that from swinging that way, in other words, self-designating themselves as swinging that way, or had admitted been caught blatantly abusing someone in that way, right, as part of their crime.
Right.
100% of them. Well, I take that back, except for one, in 5 years, except for one, all of them have been abused by older male.
I knew it.
But here's the thing, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. When I say this, I mean this literally. Those dudes, boys, not girls. Girls, they talk too much. They snitch on themselves, and plus, talking is very cathartic for them. But those boys, and they will admit, when I say this, I mean this literally. They'll admit to murder before that.
Wow.
Literally, and so they break it down like it'll be years later, and they say this happened, and it'll be like dad or uncle. For some reason, mom's boyfriend is a big one. So, I know, and that's how it is. He's like, oh, this nice guy. Oh, he loves my kids. Yeah, he loves your kids. So the point is, yeah, I know, man, it's sick, right? So, point that I'm saying, and look, man, I embraced Islam a long time ago. So I got the element inside my family too. So I understand. I'm not trying to point the finger at everyone. We all have like, my asi that we've done. You know what I'm saying? Either big like that or small. Either way, we all done things we're not proud of. But so I'm not saying like every single one of them. But what I am saying is like that stuff exists, and they're more and more bold nowadays because people have been patting them on their head. It's not like when our grandfathers were back in the days, and everyone would look at them, and they couldn't do that because they get their hand chopped off, even in the English society, like not Muslim society. Nowadays, they could be like this dude and say, "Oh, hit me up in my DMs," So, and it's like I said, and I'm talking about over 5 years. Every single boy that identified that way or was caught in a situation, I said it could be cultural because this is, I'm only working in one region, but that's the thing, man. So I figured it's a good point to bring that up, just because, and then like even like alhamdulillah for Islam, because at least there's a certain filter there, but still we grow up, we live in the same places, so I just figured it'd be beneficial just to bring that up, because when I saw that dude, I was just like, just his face, and I just be thinking of like all the kids that like, they end up with they carry those problems for years, man. So that's rough. So that's just it's all right through that dude. I don't know the sister's name. I never seen none of these people because TikTok is like a psyop. I'd be putting it inside the comments. If someone said that, that's probably me. I mean, this TikTok is a psyop. They doing that on purpose. They'll pump them up. But that's the only comment I had, man.
I appreciate you coming on and sharing that, Akhi Al-Ispani. I'm going to bring on the next caller, my man.
For sure.
Habibi, look after yourself. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Samia, I see you there in the backstage, but your device is not connected. So if you're trying to come on, your device is not connected at all. So I will not be able to bring you on right now. Okay. Hey, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What are you saying, Akhi?
I want to talk about, I'm from Germany. Assalamu alaikum. My name is AbuAmerican.
Salam Abu Bakr. Yes. What would you like to add or ask?
I would like to say that with such people, you must deal in a way which is not really a nice way, because the line between a nice way is already, I would say it, it's already crossed, because he's like grooming children or something like this. That's why it must be really addressing warning to them, to these people, and then you must deal with them in a way which is professional with some people who know him.
I appreciate you sharing that, Akhi Abu Bakr. I'm going to bring the next caller, my man. FS, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Brother Madi?
Alhamdulillah. How are you doing, sister?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah, a bit better now. I had an awful migraine earlier today, but I'm going to cover a few things. This Jeffrey Marsh fellow, honestly, like, when I found out about him, the first thing I did, I shared it to every single parent to warn them more than anything, because I have a daughter myself, so it scared the living daylights out of me. Number one. Number two, yes, the fact that Brother Isbani came on and said that, usually it's due to them being abused in some way and whatnot. And what's kind of quite shocking as well is that he's mentioned that it's the mum's boyfriend or the mum's new husband in that respect. I'm going to say one thing to any single mothers out there. And before I do that, shout out to Yusuf. She's very brave and taken a lot of accountability for doing what she did and coming on the stream and taking action when she did.
Absolutely.
Because I remember being in that situation myself in a different country, being very much alone. And the one thing I will say is, alhamdulillah, Allah Mubarak, my parents were amazing role models to us as kids. And I'm the first divorcee in my family. So alhamdulillah, I've always seen strong marriages around me. Even if they're not perfect. And my parents struggled a lot. Like, mashallah, they've married for 45 years. And my mum got married young as well. So it's not that. No marriage is perfect. I'll tell you that right now. And number two, Allah tests those He loves the most. So He'll put you through a lot of tests, but it's only when it goes too far or when it's extreme, unjust, haram, that you should really think about leaving. That's one thing. I don't want sisters to be pushed to the extreme, tolerating everything and anything to the point where they're going to
any virtue taken to its extreme becomes a vice. What do I mean by that? Anything that is good, that is exercised or practiced too much, becomes bad. Water is not just good for you, it's essential for life. And yet, if you drink too much water, you will die. You'll die of intracellular drowning. So any virtue taken to its extreme becomes a vice. But it was quite clear in the discussion I had with Yusuf that, her husband, by and large, is a good man, that she's...
Mashallah, he is.
She loves him, and he loves her, and he takes care of her to the best of his ability, and the family just getting in the way at that point. Is there anything else you'd like to ask before I bring on the next caller, sister?
Yeah, actually, I've got a couple of questions. So, I mean, one thing I want to say to the single moms out there, I'm very protective of my daughter, extremely protective.
What was your question? Sorry? Before you mind addressing the single moms, what was your question?
Okay, my question is, so I've been speaking to brothers who are interested in me with regards to marriage. And is there such a thing as a man that's too alpha? And is there any red flags I should look for personally, especially as a single mom?
Tell me, let's make this more contextual. Tell me the situation that you're going through.
So, alhamdulillah, I'm getting interest and I'm able to be, a bit more siani in the fact that, a bit more smart in the fact that I can wheedle out people who aren't suitable. But alpha, because obviously in my upbringing, I had a lot of strong male characters around me. So my dad, my brothers, my mamus, and they were all very tall, protective men. So I'm used to alpha, but I need to know if it's too alpha. So for example, if it gets to a point where, the man says you can't see your friends or you can't see your family, or stops you from attending family events, I want to know where it becomes not alpha, but it kind of transcends into controlling out of insecurity.
Again, tell me what has been said to you from this brother that you're speaking to.
Okay, so a lot of the stuff that he says so far is quite reasonable. So I said, look, what about spending time with family? Because I go on holidays a lot with my family. I go with my dad, I go with my mom, I go, with my sisters. He goes, yeah, it's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But when I asked him about holidays abroad with girlfriends, because I've never done that before, I just asked. He never answered. He just went quiet and just didn't give me a reason or a response to it.
Sister. Yani, what do you mean go on holiday abroad with girlfriend?
No, it's just a question. It's just a question. So,
question, sister. Yani, go on holiday. I tell you the holiday you will go on. Okay. Do you have a TV in your house?
Yes, I do.
Is it connected to YouTube?
Yes, it is.
I want you to open up that TV and I want you to type Maldives. Okay? And I want you to type with sounds as well. With sounds. Yeah? And you put that on, okay, and you need to put a blindfold around your eyes so you can really get in. And if you really want to take this to the next level, yani 4D,
Okay.
experience, put your feet in sand. That's your holiday, sister.
Okay,
Right?
fair enough. I just asked the question and the silence just worried me.
The only holiday you're gonna go on is with your husband. That's the
Okay.
holiday you're gonna go on.
All right, Tika, fair enough. But I think in terms of other stuff, like in terms of conversations that I'm having with him now, what's a red flag? What red flag should I look for where it's becoming a little bit too much? Because obviously I've got a daughter, so I need to make sure that this guy's safe.
How long have you been speaking for?
About a week and a half.
Okay, a week and a half, great. And does there seem to be some type of compatibility between you both?
Oh yeah, mashallah, like 100% there is. But I know the one kind of obstacle that I know that I have is that, like, alhamdulillah, all my family are degree educated. Like even
Okay,
my
hold on. So there is some type of compatibility between you both. Fantastic. When's he going to your dad?
So he said that he wants to approach my dad and my brothers once we've had 3 meetings.
How many times have you met so far?
We've not met yet. We're actually arranging to meet soon. I'm not going to say dates or place or anything.
Are you talking every day on text and stuff?
Pretty much. And mashallah, he seems quite caring. Like I told him I was quite ill today, and he was messaging me a lot today.
I don't get this shit, bro. I'm sorry. I need to talk, sister. I'm going to add you back into the stream first. I'll add you back in a second. Just hold it, brothers. Yeah, listen to me carefully. Why are you out here wasting your time texting, talking to women, and you're not actually making the next moves? If you have decided there is some type of compatibility between you both, do you understand you are giving her free attention? Free attention. No free attention. None. Unless she's on her knees in halal, no free attention. Do you understand this? Stop this. You know that Michael Jordan meme? Stop it. Get some help. Stop it. It's moist behavior. You're delaying because you're getting a gratification of talking and we're texting and all that garbage and khara. And that's what makes it all so difficult to make a decision on getting married in the first place, because then emotions get involved, then logic goes out of the window and you stop thinking rationally. Khalina yarham babak. Yes, sister, I had to remove that because I needed to say some stuff. Yani. Before you continue, hold on. Shout out to Ziad for the $10 super chat. I am of Yemeni origin, born and raised in the US. What boils my blood is Muslims' tolerance to the woke mob and the colors gang. I like that. And Muslims who end up in government or hold office completely set out. Shout out to you, bro. I appreciate that. All right, so continue, sister. Bismillah.
Okay. I mean, this is the thing, like as you've seen the way I speak, you've seen the way I am on the Sisters Telegram group. Like, alhamdulillah, I'm quite blunt. I'm quite straightforward, but I still try and remain respectful and mannerful when I'm talking to these brothers. So for me, whenever I have like an initial interaction, like I kind of gauge everything and analyze everything. And if I'm happy with that brother, straight away I give my Wally's number. I don't understand why guys want to delay it to a couple more meetings. Like, I've decided in my mind that you're suitable for me. Why can't you just go have the guts and go ask my dad?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's not too. I mean, I agree with you, but maybe he himself is not too sure. You've decided, but he's not too sure. And by the way, if you haven't met in person yet, then it's nothing. You haven't done nothing until you meet in you see each other face to face in person. You've done nothing. So, you know, meet in a public place, obviously, cafe, restaurant, whatever, and have that, and then khalas, take it from there. Just do that. Just do that.
I got another question. So I think this will be quite prominent with the sisters, especially who are looking and who have a difference in terms of education between them and the brother. So my parents, my family and whatnot, in terms of our cultural background and yes, caste. People don't hate me there. Yes, there is a caste system in Pakistani society. So basically, our family are known to be, mashallah, very well educated. And if they're not well educated, they're extremely established in business. So that's my dad's term is that he goes, okay, if that man's not within our own caste, he needs to be either educated to degree level, or he needs to be established in business. This guy is neither. So I've already said to him politely, I said, look, I like you, you like me, but you're gonna have hurdles when you speak to my family. So you need to be prepared. So could that also be what's putting him off?
Possibly, but that's his problem to deal with. It's not your problem. That's his problem to deal with.
All right, people.
Sister FS, I'm going to bring on the next caller. Always a pleasure. Shukran. Jazakallah khair. Salam alaikum.
Du'as for you and your family, inshallah.
Shukran. Salam alaikum. Faza, what's going on?
السلام عليكم اخويا كي داير لاباس
وعليكم السلام الحمد لله واش اخو لاباس شويه انت مغربي
man لا actually well I'm a bit of both I'm actually in Jordan at the moment so I just wanted to say first and foremost I'm a big fan. You speak your mind. We need more brothers like you, to be honest. So you're doing good things.
Jazakallah khair. I appreciate it, Akhi. Thank you, Akhi Faza. What would you like to ask, Akhi Faza?
Well, it's more of a comment that that I want to make. And I preface this by saying that I'm a big fan of yours, but there are quite a number of things I disagree with, if I'm completely honest with you.
Go for it. Bismillah.
And there aren't enough warriors in terms of in the Muslim Ummah. I mean, just to give a small example, Yusuf that you were talking to earlier on, she said that, for example, her husband wasn't there, or he needed to go out with his friends to get a bit of air, to chill a little bit because of the. Nah, man, I'm not on that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that he should be.
How old are you?
35.
35. So you've got kids?
No, I don't.
Okay. So, bro, you've never experienced it, bruv. What are you talking about? You've never been there, bro. You've never been in a labor ward. Listen, Akhi, I've got 8 kids, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. Many times I was there because I've been having kids. Allah has blessed me with having kids from a very young age, 17 years old. Big man. If it was halal, I'd get a pint, bruv. Do you understand? You don't know until you know. Especially if your wife has a hard labor, like a tough one, like everything goes wrong. The baby,
but look,
back, flipping C-section and whatnot, and bro, it's all on.
Look, I mean, I'm just thinking about it. I don't have kids, but I mean that's an argument from authority.
How long have you
in
been
one
married
sense?
for? How long have you been married for?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, alhamdulillah. When you have your children, inshallah, may Allah bless you with many, come back and let me know, bro.
Well, look, I personally think, I don't know any other friends of mine, any other brothers that did that. I mean, that's one example. And I mean, I can give you more. But on that particular one, for you to want to go out with your mates and to say, oh, I needed to chill. Nah, man. That's, to me, that's a sign of weakness.
What's the problem with it? To be fair, like,
do you know what it is, Mahdi? Do you know what it is, Mahdi?
But I want to know what's the fear?
Do you know what it is? There just seems to be a bit of, and I use this term quite a lot, stunted adolescent buffoonery. A lot of Muslim sisters.
What does a man do with his woman after she has? What role is he serving? She's given birth. She's safe. She's probably sleeping because that's what women, especially if it's like her first kid and the labor was long, which typically is the first labor, she's going to be sleeping as much as she can. When the baby wakes up, she'll be awake with the baby. Aside from that, she's going to be sleeping and bleeding and very weak. What are you going to be doing, bro? Watching over her?
Listen, for me, that would be a massive thing. You don't just go and want to chill with your mates. Do you not think in the Muslim community, in the Muslim Ummah, do you not think that we don't have a lot of the men, even after marriage, they're like boys? Honestly, they're out till stupid hours, and they're supposed to be married.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
in this situation of Yusuf, it was very specific. I do agree with this, by the way, that there are some men who do behave like boys and they're going out to late hours, some of them even gambling, they've got vices of some sort and so on, right? So I can't relate to that. I don't even like going out like that, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. After a long day of work, I just want to go home and to the arms of my woman, because there's peace there. Do you understand? But I don't see the harm in it. If he's had a long day and he wants to go out with his mates for a couple of hours, khalas, it's his thing. Let him do his thing, whatever. Each to their own. It's okay. So long as his wife is not in any sort of harm, she's been taken care of. What's the big deal? Who cares is what I'm saying. Either way, who cares? It's not a violation. If my guy wants to go out after his wife has given birth and he's taking care of her and she's at home and she's resting and she's probably sleeping, who cares, bruv? It's not a violation.
I don't know. Do you know what, Mahdi? I just see a lot of, when you say wallahi, who cares? I see a lot of brothers who they're not acting like men. And it's not just about how you treat your wife, because listen, trust me, I know women, sometimes they just yap, and you can't be a well, I mean, I don't know what they expect. Sometimes, you need to put your foot down and you need to, be the man. But we have a lot of boys around us. A lot of boys, and they're there doing الارجيلة, a bit of shisha. بدنا قهوة, يلا خلينا نشوف ميسي, ما شاء الله على رونالدو, لا والله. Listen, they are children. Honestly, they've got a belly, right? They have the yalla, let's have Mendy or Mashawi or whatever at stupid o'clock. I think that maybe you should devote some of your message to not just telling the sisters not to be.
I don't have friends like this, so I don't even know this world. I don't.
Well, that's good for you. You don't know them, but trust me, there's many out there. Our ummah, they're suffering.
Listen, what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I can't speak on something that I don't have any knowledge of. So none of my friends do this, and I don't do this. So this is not my world. So maybe if this is your world, maybe you should, like, I don't know, create content on it on TikTok or something. Because this is not something that's a thing in my world and the brothers that I deal with. We don't have time for this garbage. The only time me and my friends meet, we meet to talk about business, bruv. Of course, and then all for the sake of Allah. That's it. That's it. If we're going out for dinner, there is a point to us meeting. There is a point. Why are we meeting? I say this to my friends. One of my best friends are like, bruv, why are we meeting? What's the purpose? What's the agenda? Show me the agenda, because if there's no agenda, bro, like big man thing, I don't really want to come out, to be honest with you. So I don't know this world, Akhi Faza. So if this is something you're more familiar with, maybe create content on it. I don't know. It's a waste of time.
Do you know what? What you're saying, that's all well and good. You deal with a certain caliber of men. You speak about things which are poignant. You speak about things which are purposeful. Unfortunately, there are many brothers, and you see them in the masjid. You see them.
What's the message to them? What would you like to say to them then? This type of brother who waste a lot of time. Go on.
I would say, and before I want to just articulate the message in a proper way, but I think you have a very good platform. I think a lot of those people would look at they look at you. You're a bit of a wake-up call. Not just, and I must say, not just to kids, not just to people 19, 18, 19, 20, even in their 30s, late 30s, approaching 40. They look at people like you, and I think they need to hear with the same sort of verve as someone like Andrew Tate, who really, he pulls no punches. So when they hear it from someone like you, it's like, listen, don't be going out when your wife gives birth. Okay, I mean, we maybe we have a disagreement on that one, but let's just put that to one side. Bro, stop being a child.
This is trivia, Akhi. This is trivia, Akhi. This is real trivia. What I will say is this: stop wasting time. I will say that. Stop wasting time, because you don't have much of it, especially once you start.
I think there's a lot of incompetence when it comes to the Muslim Ummah, for the men in particular. I think there are a lot of shortcomings on both sides, the men and the women, and you point it out rightly so. But I think there should be just a bit more focus on the fact that, and I'm not just saying men, I'm saying Muslim men, we are very incompetent. That's my personal opinion. I've seen it in the UK, I've seen it in Arab countries. I know that you were a teacher in Saudi Arabia. You've seen how they act stupid. They act like little kids. And when they go to London, they act ridiculous.
I don't want to throw shade to my students, bro. That's peak, bro. I don't want to be throwing shade to my students. Some of them are actually very good. But yani, look, Akhi Faza, this is the conversation is devolving into something not very meaningful. But yani, I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate your kind words as well, my man. For those of you who are wasting time, yani, stop wasting time, bro. Don't have much of it. Habibi, I'm gonna bring on the next caller, inshallah.
Appreciate it. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Somali Pirate, appreciate the $5 super chat, my man. Jazakallah khair. Mind, matter, and can't read the rest of it. You're on the stream. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
كيف الحال أخي? How you doing?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, Brother Mahdi?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. What would you like to add to the discussion, bro?
Fantastic. Well, I'll be very, very brief. I have a few things to say. Number one, in terms of Jeffrey Marsh, he's been doing this for almost a year. If you're interested, there's a Twitter page called Libs of TikTok.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Libs of TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah, she's an American lady. She's very she's conservative leaning. Long story short, they actually found her parents' address, and she was attacked as well physically on the street. So, this is something that they have been doing for a very, very long time. The lady who wrote Irreversible Damage, Abigail Scherer, they tried to target her as well. So, in terms of the Muslims, I think this is a huge wake-up call, apart from the Quran burning that happened in the Scandinavian countries. To be fair, in my opinion, that is entirely our fault. The reason I say this is because my background is Pakistani, alhamdulillah. I understand the culture in and out. I was born in Bristol, grew up in London, lived in Pakistan for a bit, came back here. Currently, I'm a university student studying neuroscience and genetics, and the motivation was because I started to take my deen very, very seriously. To be very brief, my background was in dance. I used to do Cuban salsa, Latin American salsa, Afro hip hop, all of that. So, subhanAllah, in terms of the female department, wasn't any issues there, but life was very vacuous, very empty. And then I worked in tech, I worked in sales, lost my job during lockdown, and inshallah soon I'm going to be in a job in data science. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because obviously the aim is to get married. Since 2019, I've basically tried everything face-to-face, these dodgy apps, through people I know and families and friends. And literally, I'm very shocked to know that most girls have absolutely no idea about the deen. Like, they can name you 5 individuals from a Turkish drama, but they don't know that Hazrat Umar conquered the Persian and Roman Empire. In fact, they don't even know these empires existed. Now, my question is,
are you turning sisters down on that, bro?
No, I'm not turning them down. I'm actually implicitly and also explicitly saying that what are the men of their households doing? What are they actually talking on the dinner table? What do they discuss with their wives, for instance, after they come from work or in the morning or on the weekends, etc.? So,
But what's the question though, Akhi? What's your question?
It's just a slight input. My question to you, Mahdi, brother, is that for someone like myself who's, how can I say this? May Allah forgive me. This is not something to do with pride, but I consider myself an intellectual heavyweight. I started the Muslim Society at my uni at the moment. I'm not going to say which one, but it's one of the bigger ones in London at the moment. I'm in the Genetic Society, Philosophy Society, Psychology Society, and I'm obviously looking for a wife. So I am very, very adamant, meaning I stand on the hadith where you look at 4 things in a woman: her beauty, her wealth, her family, and her deen. And then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, focus on the deen. And when I put that in front, it's just extremely difficult. So, my question to you is, how do I go about that? Number one. And number two, I would say is, this is not really a question, but this is just a recommendation that try and bring on individuals who are active fighting these LGBTQIP, HDTV individuals out there, because they are indoctrinating our children. And unfortunately, many parents, whether you're from Arab countries, African or Asian countries, they just have no idea how to deal with this. So I do apologize if I'm going on a bit, but
No worries, Akhi. So the first question was, how do you go about finding a sister for marriage? Basically, is that the first question?
In a nutshell, yeah.
I have a feeling your your intellect is getting in your way. This can happen, or your intellect, I should say. I have a feeling it's getting in your way a little bit because you are smart by the sounds of it. I have a feeling you might be a little bit dismissive when dealing with sisters. Even just hearing what you said, for example, yani they don't know anything, the conquest of Umar and so on. Let me tell you what the most important thing is, Akhi, when you're looking for a sister. All right, you can teach her all that stuff. You can teach her yourself. The most important thing you want to look for in a sister after her religiosity, and by religiosity, I'm not talking about alima, I'm talking about a sister who fears Allah, she prays 5 times a day, she covers appropriately. This is enough. She fears Allah to the best of her ability, she prays 5 times a day, she covers appropriately. This is enough. After that, you're looking for a sister who you can lead. That's it. Don't complicate the thing, bro. We're going to be single for a long time.
Well, another thing I would also, this is like an addendum, an addition. I agree 100%. In terms of the money aspect, I'm not obviously going to go into too much detail, but I have certain things I do on the side. The primary income, I would classify this as my data science job, which, you know, I think it was on the Ali Dawa show. You mentioned that you need 10 incomes to live in London, which is true.
Yeah.
But that type of area does take time because, as I mentioned, I did a lot of things in my 20s, and now I'm doing my BSc, MSc, and eventually my PhD, along with this other thing.
Go on. Land the plane. Land the plane.
So, in terms of landing the plane, the destination is to have my own farm in a Muslim country. But before that, like you said, I need someone who I can lead into this.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 28.
You're 28. Have you ever been married before?
No, never been married.
How long have you been trying to get married?
Since 2019, November.
Okay. The best advice I can give you is, I don't know if you're being dismissive with sisters or not, but if you are, just go back to what I just said to you, just said a couple of moments ago. After her religiosity, which is she fears Allah to the best of her ability, she prays 5 times a day on time all the time. This is the biggest thing. There's nothing more important than that, frankly speaking. And then she covers appropriately as well. You're looking for a sister who you can lead. Don't complicate it, akhi. The more you complicate it, especially before she's married to you, the more you're going to scare her off. It's the best advice I can give you. I'm going to bring on the next caller, my man, okay?
Thank you so much, brother.
Habib. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Samia, assalamu alaikum. Samia, you are on the stream. Islamic 44, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bro, is this a brother or sister?
I'm fine. How are you?
First of all, how old are you?
14.
Brother, man ain't trying to catch no case, bruv. Asadullah, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
How old are you, young man?
I'm 16.
You're 16, bro. I don't know if I can have you on the stream, bro. YouTube are getting a bit techie these days. King, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing, Akhi King? What's going on?
Fine, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Good. What would you like to add to the discussion or ask?
This is for Faza, the one who was talking about labor and being there with wife. The problem is that he doesn't know what he's talking about. As you said, he haven't been there. I have been there twice, and believe me, it's not a good side at all. So he is just talking just to talk. He haven't tried it, and he doesn't know how it is. I can give him an example. I was there. I have a son and a daughter, and I was with my ex, with both of them. And both of them was accidentally. I didn't want it to be there. It just came out, suddenly. So I was there just by accident. We had a deal that I won't be there, and when she go to labor, I will go out. But it came. I was in the middle of all that, and I didn't know what's happening. And suddenly the baby came out, and I was like, "What the?" So I was there, and this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just saying, oh, men are not good enough. They are not man enough to be there with their wife. I was there for her both the time. And first time she had, I don't know what it is in English, they cut the stomach because the baby was, yeah. Yes, I was there, and I was there helping her like for 2 weeks. I did everything, cooking, changing, everything because she couldn't move. And the second time, when my son was born, she breathed too much, so I had to be there for her, and I helped her like for a month. And you know what's the worst part? They don't even say thank you. So
listen, King. I don't want to send some graphic. I'm gonna bring on next caller, my man. Look after yourself. Salam wa barakatuh. All right, we'll bring on one more. Shahir, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How old are you, bro?
18.
Oof, you just made the cut. Go on, Bismillah. What you got? What you got for me?
Yeah. Okay, my brother. So, I've just finished college and I'm in university now, and I've seen like many of my friends convert towards the wrong way. So I want you to tell me how I can give them advice without seeming like I'm going into their business. Do you understand what I'm saying, brother?
Just set the example. Don't proselytize. Just set the example. You can give advice from a distance. Just set the example. Be that example. Advise them and tell them, fear Allah. But what can you do? Aside from that, what else can you do? What are you gonna do? Lock them up in a room?
I understand. But what happens if they're resistant? They're just not accepting any advice, any examples. Then what?
Well, then they're not your friends, bro. You need to move on because you are upon the religion of your friend. If the majority of your friends are like that, believe me, sooner or later their bad influence is going to rub off onto you. They're going to affect you negatively.
I understand. Jazakallah, brother.
Habibi, look after yourself, Shahir. Take care. That's the last one until after Ramadan, guys. I appreciate you coming on and hanging about for this. That conversation in the middle with Yusuf, that was the best conversation. I'm going to clip that, inshallah. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.